Alright guys, so let's just talk more about Metroid Prime 4 and why it needs online multiplayer. Maybe I didn't do a good job of convincing people of why it needs it. I also received a lot of stupid arguments against it, but I probably didn't do a good job of, convincing people that this game should have online multiplayer. It should have online multiplayer for a variety of reasons, but let me just try to give a few. Let me do my best to convince people why this game really needs online multiplayer. Now, right now, it's already kind of too late, in a way, because what's done is done. If it's going to have single player only, they're not going to be able to add online multiplayer in just like 2 months or whatever. So it is a little too late, but I'm just explaining why it should have it and why I really hope it does. Now, of course, the obvious reason would be it's going to sell more. There's no brainer. You can't argue against that. Multiplayer games, fun multiplayer games, not just multiplayer games in general, but really good ones like Super Smash Brothers. What else? Halo, Splatoon 3 being another good example. Those type of games sell very well. People love those online multiplayer. Oh, of course, Mario Kart. One of the best-selling game on Nintendo right now. 70 million copies, right? That's a multiplayer racing game. People love multiplayer games. Yes, single-player games are great too. They're awesome. But I don't understand why people just, have this negative, or at least just the internet. It's really just the internet. It's idiots on the internet who cry about everything. They're the only ones that seem to be against online multiplayer because they see it as something that is like obsolete and it's not going to last forever, and only single player will last forever. But Nintendo, with the Nintendo Switch and Switch 2, you can play up to 8 players locally. There's that cross-play that they have. So, it's kind of stupid not to want any kind of multiplayer whatsoever, because you can at least play up to 8 players locally and whatnot. But let's not get too, far off track there. It's gonna sell well. Splatoon 3 sold 13 million copies. That's way more than what any Metroid game has sold so far. That's just a fact, okay? Second reason is the game needs to have a hook, okay? They need a hook, not just a hook, but a hook that's got some really good bait on it, that's gonna attract more players and more gamers to this series, to this franchise, okay? Just Metroid Prime by itself as a single player experience, I mean, it might be able to do better than Metroid Dread, but I don't think it's going to do really big. I don't think it's going to do like 10 million. Maybe it will, but I don't think it will. I don't know. I just don't think it will. And you could probably say, oh, this game everyone's been wanting this game. Yeah, the internet's been crying about this game and talking about how much they want it and how much they've been demanding it from Nintendo. That doesn't mean it's going to be a success, because the internet is just a very loud minority. And you know what proves that? How about that Marvel vs. Capcom fighting collection that released not too long ago? And it came with that, what was it? Was it Marvel vs. Capcom 2? Which was like one of the most requested games for a very long time, and it literally just recently sold 1 million copies. After being out for like, 4, 5 months, 6 months? That game was out for a while and only sold 1 million copies. And you had the internet crying about that game for so long, and that's all it did, was 1 million copies. Okay? So, don't think that, a great Metroid Prime game with Metroid Prime 4 just having a great, campaign, single player campaign is gonna get like Breath of the Wild numbers. Now, maybe it depends on what you can do in the single player campaign. It also depends on how many awesome game modes there are. If they incorporate some type of player versus environment to it, kind of like like in the Souls games and whatnot, like FromSoft games. But besides that, I don't really see the game doing that great if it doesn't have online multiplayer. I think online multiplayer, not just online multiplayer, but great online multiplayer, will definitely drive it and make it more successful. And it's definitely going to do that because people love multiplayer games, and if people see a bunch of fun multiplayer modes and different options, like different game modes, I mean, we've seen that they've been experimenting a lot. I mean, Metroid Federation Force, you had that like soccer type mode where you're shooting that giant ball into the goal or whatever. I mean, imagine a better version of that game where it's like up to, like, you literally have a team of like 6 versus 6 or 8 versus 8 players on a giant battlefield, and you have to get the giant ball into their goal or whatever, and it kind of blows up their base and things like that, or it does damage to their base, stuff like cool shit like that, you know, like make it very similar to Super Smash Brothers and Time Splitters in the sense that there's going to be so many different game modes to play from. You know, something like that will really attract a much bigger audience to this franchise. They need to do that. They got to have that hook. They got to have that bait that's going to attract more people to this series. I want Metroid to get a bigger following. I want it to be as successful as Super Smash Brothers, Breath of the Wild, and all these other big games. I want it to be just as successful, if not more successful, than Mario Kart. I really hope that happens. I hope it becomes more successful than Mario Kart. I think that would be freaking awesome. So, yeah, those are pretty much my 2 reasons. I think another third reason, and this is just a reason like why this is the perfect opportunity for them to have the best multiplayer shooter right now, is the fact that there is no Halo right now. Halo is literally fucking dead. All right, Halo has been dead for so long. What else has been dead? Oh, Time Splitters. Yeah, Time Splitters has been dead for the last 10 years, and that's a game that a lot of hardcore fans rave about. Now, unfortunately, I don't think Time Splitters was ever that big. It never was as big as it should have been. It was way better than Halo. I remember, funny enough, the only reason I remember Halo 2, or this is when I first learned about Halo, was, you know, I was looking at a Game Informer magazine. I remember seeing, you know, Metroid Prime 2, and then I also seen Halo 2 and how it was only for Xbox, and that pissed me off. And I remember people raving about that game. Oh, it was the best online multiplayer shooting game, whatever, and this and that. And so, you know, I was like, you know, just the minority of people who were rooting for Metroid Prime 2. And when I finally got Metroid Prime 2 for Christmas, you know, I played the multiplayer with my brothers, and it was a fun multiplayer. It was fun. I enjoyed it. But it was split screen, and that was really disappointing. And, you know, there was no online play. And, of course, that's because the GameCube didn't have that, and that was a real disappointment because the GameCube was way better than the other 2 systems. But yeah, there was no online play, and the single player experience really sucked. I was just kind of like, man, this is fucking dumb. Like, this whole Dark World thing and everything, I just did not like that. I hated that. And, you know, I've never beaten that game. I've beaten Metroid Prime, the first one, and that was many years later when I got it for the Nintendo Wii. And that was a really, I remember playing that game and thinking, why the hell is this one like way better than the second game? You know? But I'm kind of getting off topic. Basically, I just remember how Halo 2 was far more popular because of its online multiplayer. And because of it's just the multiplayer in general was so freaking popular with Halo 2. It was unbelievably popular. I don't remember, like, I remember so many people talking about that game. Almost as many people talking about Grand Theft Auto, to be honest. And so, with Halo dead right now, this is like the perfect opportunity for Metroid to take away that crown and be that big, epic first-person shooter multiplayer game, because there is none right now. There's like Space Marines 2, but that's not first-person, that's third-person. So this is like the perfect opportunity right now, literally, for Metroid to basically take that crown away from Halo as being, you know, one of the best multiplayer first-person shooters, online multiplayer shooters. That's what I want, and I think this is the perfect opportunity. There's really nothing out there right now, and so this would do, if it ends up having this really awesome and epic online multiplayer with so many different games and everything like that, they just go out, and it's like playing Super Smash Brothers, but it's Metroid. It's a first-person shooter. You really don't think that that won't really like just sell like freaking hotcakes? Of course it will. So those are just a few more reasons why I want this game to have online multiplayer. Oh, I guess the other reason would be longevity. It's gonna last freaking forever. People right now are still playing Super Smash Brothers, so that's another reason. People will always keep playing multiplayer games for as long as they can, and if this ends up having like an epic multiplayer with lots to do, it's gonna keep bringing people back to the game. It's gonna keep bringing people back to the game, and who knows? They'll probably be like, yeah, let me just check out single player real quick. Let me get back into the single player, or let me replay some missions or whatever. I don't know. I think they need to do something like that. Online multiplayer is a good way to keep a game alive for a very long time, because I mean, again, like Retro Studios, their last game, besides remastering Metroid Prime, it was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I love Donkey Kong. He's my favorite character. But that was just a single player game. Yeah, you could play with one other person, but it wasn't like this online game like Super Smash Brothers. And it's a game that's only fun to play through like one time. I love the soundtrack. I really do. But the soundtrack alone isn't going to just make me come back to the game. It's a great game. I love it. I really do. Donkey Kong Bonanza is way better. Way better. So, yeah, that's another reason. I guess one final reason would be because it would actually tell us how talented Retro Studios really is. Because people keep saying they're the most talented studio, and the only reason they say that is because of the visuals. And I think that is just a damn shame. If that's the only thing that people are giving them credit for, that's pretty pathetic. They had not made any games in the last, 10 years besides Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, and Prime Remastered. And that's very disappointing. That's a trash resume right there. Meanwhile, you got these other guys out here making 3 Splatoon games within 8 years. What about the Mario team? Like, they're probably way more talented, giving us, Super Mario Odyssey and then Donkey Kong Bonanza. Good grief. I mean, and Retro Studios, they're over here just like taking forever to give us this game. They better have online multiplayer. I'm sorry. Like, the more I think about it, they've been working on this game for like the past 6 years. Yeah, the game got restarted or whatever. So technically it was 6 years they've been working on this game. Dude, I mean, if they truly are the most talented studio, there's 200, all right? 200 people working at Retro Studios, 200 developers total. They really have to be doing a hell of a lot more than just making a great single-player experience with really great graphics. It looks great. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It looks really nice, but it needs to be more than that. It needs to be an experience that you could keep coming back to time and time again. Not just a great single-player game. Anyways, I think that's all I have. And I'd like to see people's argument. And it's going to be, Metroid is this. It's never been multiplayer. And, you can't make them sacrifice, development time to work on the multiplayer or whatever. And it's like, why not? Aren't they the most talented studio? If they're the most talented studio, why can't they do that? Everyone keeps saying they're the most talented studio, but yet they're incapable of making a game that has both a great single player and multiplayer experience. That doesn't make any damn sense to me. And if it doesn't have multiplayer, then you know what? I don't think they really deserve that title of being the most talented studio. Not just for that reason alone, but because of what they have not given us in the last 10 years. Last 10 years has been extremely disappointing. Very disappointing. Especially when you look at everybody else. Masahiro Sakurai, the Mario team working on, Super Mario Odyssey and Donkey Kong Bonanza. All the Splatoon team is like, all these other people are giving us great games consistently, time and time again. And Retro Studios is over here just freaking like slacking big time. So just look at how cool this game looks right now. It looks really cool. I mean, a multiplayer with this big epic battlefield like this, dude. Anyways, I want to hear from you guys. If you disagree with me, do let me know. If you agree with me, let me know, and also tell me what kind of awesome, modes you could think of that they could implement in this game, in this multiplayer game. Think what kind of cool multiplayer game modes would you like to see, if you agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, try to explain why, try to refute my arguments, my points, all of that. Be sure to like the video, be sure to share it, be sure to hit subscribe, and even if you don't like it, if you don't like my content, I still urge you to hit like and subscribe anyways, and leave as many comments, because it's going to boost the algorithm, and that means more people will get to see this video. So please do that. And with that being said, I will talk with you guys later. See ya.